gather the three echoes. I must gather the three echoes. I must gather the three echoes.
Here you are at last. This is where the path to the Bastille begins. And to think, I would have never thought you'd make it this far. Cependant, I would advise you not to rush. The fighting in these tunnels has weakened the structure. If you go in there, I'm afraid you won't be able to turn back. Delor, I have just one bit of advice to give you. Before going any further, make sure you're not leaving behind any unfinished business. Any commitments that you've not fully met. I shall return to my hiding place. In these unsure times, you can never be too careful. Ne croyez-vous pas?
If I take one more step, there will be no turning back. This path will lead me straight to the Quartier du Temple. with the dead tree. I might be able to stop this experiment. Tuileries and follow the directions on the receipt. It also mentions the Quartier du Saint-Eustache and Rue Saint-Honoré. Not even the commanding officer was spared. Lafayette didn't hand over his army to the king. I should keep looking around Place Dauphine. Colonel Armand. He died in the attack. Yellow cartridges. The conspirators' secret sign. There was most certainly a conspiracy. There's no doubt about that. But those involved shared the same fate as the rest of them. I should keep looking around Place Dauphine. A headquarters at the Pont au Change. By all appearances, it's not official. Most likely an underground hiding place that can be entered from the riverbank. I'll try to track down Capitaine Lefebvre. If he and his men withdrew to the Société des Amis des Noirs, he must have gone towards the Châtelet. It would have been a desperate move for certain. I doubt any of them survived the retreat. This gate has a lock that requires some combination of 4 letters. I should follow Capitaine Lefebvre's footsteps. He and his men withdrew to the Société des Amis de Noir. They must have gone towards the Châtelet. I doubt they survived their retreat. There's no point trying to force it. This lock requires a 4-letter password. I should follow Capitaine Lefebvre's footsteps. He and his men withdrew to the Société des Amis de Noir. They must have gone towards the Châtelet. I doubt they survived their retreat. The poor souls. They died just steps from their goal. York? What does that mean? Y-O-O-K. Good. The lock opened. Waters. This place must be studied carefully. This document bears the signature of the Marquis de Lafayette, so the rumors were true. The Garde Nationale wasn't formed spontaneously. All of this was carefully orchestrated. It is high time the Marquis de Lafayette explained himself. field with the dead tree. Good. Don't move!
Ah, that cursed dancer! May you be devoured by rust!
Slipped through my fingers. Fortunately, he was unable to take his things with him. The sleepless slaves. They meant the automats. Feeding off the blood of innocent people. Monsieur Raymond was completely mistaken. I must inform him.
monster. What do you want with me? Wasn't it enough for you to steal my dancer?
I'm merely obeying the king, mademoiselle. Don't be afraid. You and your beloved machine will soon be reunited. I give you my word. Voila, here we are. Do you see that window? That's where she's waiting for you. Sale petite peste. I suggest you don't try that again.
Atanias. What could have happened to her in this workshop? This notebook appears to be very old. I should show it to Abbe Gregoire. So that is the name that the Comte de Cagliostro uses to conduct his business discreetly. You're so beautiful. You'll stay with me always, n'est-ce pas? Without you, mon ami, I'd be all alone. This box is covered in astronomical symbols. It's no use. I can't get it open. I should show this to Monsieur B.
saw it just today as clearly as I can see you now.
It's impossible. That makes no sense.
Do you think I've gone mad?
No, of course not. But how can Monsieur Balsamo make these machines obey you?
Monsieur Balsamo, you say?
Jesu! An automat right on our doorstep.
Mother, we are lost.
Be not afraid. I am not one of those machines that are sowing death all over the city.
I love on her. This one speaks and thinks, at least.
We better stay on our guard.
So you saw this Monsieur Balsamo giving orders to the machines?
Bien sûr. I saw him walk through the gate to his workshop, just a few paces from here, accompanied by a dozen automats. They made no move to attack him. Oh no, bien contraire. They were acting like his bodyguards.
What does Monsieur Balsamo do?
Who knows? He's a very discreet man.
Discreet? You'd have to be deaf to find him discreet. What about the racket he uses up at night? The clatter of scrap metal, the creaking of pulleys, rumblings of all kinds. We suffer through it all. Not to mention the god-awful screams that emanate from that sinister workshop from time to time.
Most unusual fanfare, c'est vrai. However, there's no way of knowing what he's doing there. And that's why we cannot tell you anything more.
Madame, would you be so kind as to leave now? We don't want to draw attention to ourselves.
Can I help you, Aegis?
What is the significance of these objects steeped in memories?
Nemes. I have reread every work that I have on them. Pages that have remained unintelligible to this day. These echoes go back to the beginning of time, to that fateful day in ancient Greece when some dark magician took it into his head to bind a soul to an inanimate object. You see, Aegis, there is nothing more diabolical, nothing more unnatural than this sorcery. The soul is the very essence of the divine. It refuses to submit to such an abomination and resists, eventually breaking. The earliest necromancers whose works have survived through the centuries all describe the same phenomenon. When a soul is fragmented, 3 shards of memory are torn from its consciousness and take shelter in 3 objects that the victim held dear. It's as if these memories wish to remain bound to the mortal who had held them until then.
I found this notebook written in Latin.
Indeed. Medieval Latin, to be precise. Oh, Hold on. Bon sang. Aegis, what a find. This handwriting. I would recognize it anywhere. It's in Nicholas Flamel's own hand. Give me some time to study this, and I'll tell you what I'm able to glean from it.
Have you finished reading the notebook, mon père?
Yes, Aegis, and what I learned from it puzzles me. In this diary, Flamel tells of 3 journeys. 3 journeys into what he calls the in-between. A strange world filled with wandering souls. Tormented spirits that are unable to ascend to heaven.
This world. It's where Cagliostro's victims were trapped until I freed them.
En effet, I believe you're right. But that's not all. Flamel planned to return there a 4th time. He wrote this in the final paragraph, in his handwriting, dated 21st of March 1418. That was the day before he died, Aegis. What if his body died while his soul was traveling through limbo? What if he were trapped, a prisoner in this purgatory? Aegis, because of your unique nature, we have an incredible opportunity.
What do you mean, mon père?
If the soul that animates you has been bound to the automaton that serves as its vessel, then it can be separated from it too. And if this were the case, the soul would travel to purgatory, where Cagliostro entraps the souls of his victims.
Hold on. Are you trying to convince me to go and find Nicholas Flamel?
I'm offering you a chance to speak to the man who discovered the Philosopher's Stone. Surely you won't pass it up.
Assuming I agree to venture into purgatory, do I even have a chance of finding him there?
Certainly. According to this journal, the soul flies to the zenith of the place where it left the body of the deceased. Or that of the pilgrim, in this case. If Flamel's soul is trapped in purgatory, as we've guessed, you'll need to go to the house where he drew his dying breath.
Is it still standing?
Of course. It's on Rue de Montmorency, in the quartier de l'Hôtel de Ville. You can get there via the cemetery of the Église Saint-Jacques.
And how do you plan to free my spirit from this automat?
We would simply need to break the bond between them. To do this, we would need to stop your machinery. For a short time, of course. We don't want to lose you, ma chère. As for the rest, it will be a question of mechanics, chemistry, or electric currents, or something or other. Therein lies the problem. This is far beyond my comprehension. But it is fascinating, isn't it? Perhaps Monsieur Bailly and Monsieur Lavoisier could shed some light on the matter.
Goodbye, mon père. Monseigneur.
What can I do for you, Aegis?
Goodbye, Monseigneur.
Allez en paix, Aegis.
Monsieur Raymond.
Go on, Aegis.
I went to the Hotel de Massiac as agreed. What I discovered goes beyond your darkest conjectures. The club's members have no intention of merely depriving their slaves of rest. Rather, with the king's support, they plan to replace them with automat harvesters. The Count of Cagliostro is behind the plan.
Ma foi. But such a plan would certainly only improve the lot of these unfortunate people.
You are mistaken, mon père. If the planters get their way, they will have a greater need of slaves than ever. Only this time, they intend to slaughter them to power their machines.
Quelle abomination!
Par tous les saints.
4 days ago, the Paris Guard captured 100 black people. They were to be sacrificed as part of an experiment to test the effectiveness of the automat harvesters. Luckily, I was able to prevent the massacre.
Where are they now?
In a place they call the Dépôt des Noirs. I don't know where it is, but I managed to get the key. It bears the inscription, Tour du Diable.
The Devil's Tower is a prison in Vincennes, within the chateau walls.
That's 3 leagues from here. We'll only be able to free the prisoners once we're able to move freely ourselves.
At least they were spared the fate that the king and his accomplices had planned for them.
And what will you do with the 2 servants you employ, Monsieur Raymond?
I will continue to treat them well, as I always have.
However, under the laws you insist on following, they will become slaves again the moment they leave the kingdom for Saint-Domingue.
Certainly not, Monsieur de Robespierre. What kind of a man would I be if what I have heard had not opened my eyes? The planters of Massiac have been proven to be nothing but avaricious murderers. I thought I was dealing with opposition, But now I discover them to be vile enemies, from whom it would be vain to expect any compromise. From this day on, I will fight against their interests with all my strength, and will not lay down my arms until the last slave in the Empire has been freed.
Rest assured, then, that the people will fight by your side, Monsieur Raymond.
That's the spirit, my friends. Vive l'égalité.
Monsieur le Marquis.
I'm listening, Aegis.
Monsieur le Marquis, there is a most unfortunate rumor about you going round.
Oh, just one, is that?
You are accused of having delivered the troops who had gathered in the Place Dauphine over to the king.
Calumny. This is nothing less than vile slander.
Save your breath, General. The rumor is true. I can prove it. There's no point in trying to defend yourself. I know that you raised the National Guard for the sole purpose of taking command of it. There was nothing spontaneous about the uprising.
Do you have any evidence to support your accusations?
I do. I have the manifesto.
Bon sang.
Why resort to this manipulation?
You must understand what I have done. I did for the good of the kingdom. I wanted to stop this massacre while protecting the Queen and the Dauphin. In the name of the people, Aegis. But an actual uprising of the people would have inevitably led to disaster. Only professional soldiers could organize and lead the resistance.
Who were your accomplices?
My brothers in arms, the brave men of the Régiment de Saintonge, veterans of the American War. Men who at the Battle of Yorktown brought an empire to its knees. Alas, we gravely underestimated the enemy's forces. We thought we would face an infantry supported by a handful of machines, but an entire army of automats. It was unthinkable.
Some accuse you of harboring a lust for power. The circumstances were to your advantage.
These aspersions are all too familiar to me. But tell me, if I wanted the crown for myself, why did I not take it when I returned from America? When I had seasoned troops at my command and the people sang my praises with one voice? No, that makes no sense. Though I readily admit that I do believe I am worthy of fulfilling an important role for the Queen after her son is crowned. Lieutenant General of the Kingdom, for example. Or even, if circumstance requires, the Regent. Voila. Now you know everything. I haven't left anything out. However, this truth, if it were made public, would play right into my enemy's hands. So I ask you not to reveal anything I've just told you, and to give me the manifesto.
No, General. You'll forgive me for choosing to hold on to it.
In that case, my fate remains in your hands. Can you at least tell me where my detractor is hiding? The one who is spreading these charming rumors about me.
I cannot tell you anything, General.
Oh, no matter. I will not let this serpent continue to vilify me. I shall get redress for these aspersions in the end.
Do as you wish, General de Lafayette. Goodbye, Monsieur le Marquis.
Have you found Monsieur Marat?
Yes, you were right. He is hiding in the quarries of Montmartre.
Did he show you the way to the Bastille?
No, but he told me about the tunnels that will take me to the Temple. From there, I can fight my way to the Bastille.
The man is trustworthy, as long as he does not count you among his enemies. You should leave us, and take up his advice immediately.
As for the lanterns...
Did Monsieur de Laclos tell you the secret of his explosive cannonball?
No, we didn't talk about it.
That's a pity. Without his help, our strategy is doomed to failure. Let's see. I know he's close to Monsieur Marat, the patriotic journalist. He He's currently in hiding in the quarries of Montmartre. But please do not breathe a word of this to the Marquis de Lafayette. Those two are at daggers drawn. It would certainly end in a bloodbath.
I have recovered Minister Necker's bonds.
Do you intend to entrust them to me?
Yes. I have chosen to place this fortune in your hands.
Very well, madame. I promise that I will use it for one purpose only. To give the people their freedom. When a monarch violates the people's most fundamental rights, insurrection is their most sacred and indispensable duty. But we must be wary of warmongers, who would lead the rebellion in the name of the people, because all they truly want is to become tyrants in turn.
Were you present when the Estates General was dissolved?
Oui, madame. I had a front row. We listened positively.
Goodbye, Monsieur de Robespierre. Monsieur Lavoisier.
What can I do for you, Aegis?
The clues I found at the warehouse suggest that the gunpowder was moved to the Bastille.
Diable! You must find a way to get...
Do you think there is any way to interrupt my internal clockwork?
To what end?
I would like to briefly sever the bond between my spirit and this automat.
It is a very strange request, madame. For what purpose do you seek to free your soul from its shell?
According to the abbot, my spirit would then be able to visit purgatory.
Oh, that dreadful place. Why on earth would you want to go there?
I hope to find answers to some very important questions.
You must understand, madame, that your very nature is a mystery to us. We are ignorant as to the principle that imbues you with life, nor do we know how your machinery works. That is why it is impossible for us to make even the slightest alteration. It would mean taking an unacceptable risk. Of course, if we had documents that could shed light on the matter...
Antoine, the blueprints.
What blueprints, mon ami?
Ludia's. Eugène gave them to me when he was working on the modifications ordered by the king. He wanted my opinion on the potential for reducing the size of certain key parts. The documents are obsolete now, but they could tell us quite a bit about the mechanical principles that are shared by Ludia and Aegis.
Bon sang, you're right. Where are the blueprints now?
Alas, the situation is not in our favor. I kept them in the safe at the observatory, but earlier, when I went there to collect my most important documents, before setting off for the convent, I found looters making off with its contents.
Blasted scavengers. Their kind are always quick to make the most of chaos.
I chased them to the quays, but was unable to apprehend them. When they disappeared into an underground passageway under the Louvre, I decided it was best not to follow them.
You acted wisely, mon ami. The automats are everywhere, and the marauders don't stand much of a chance.
I'll try to track them down. Goodbye, Monsieur Lavoisier.
Did you find the blueprints that were stolen from me?
No, monsieur.
Don't forget that those documents are our only chance to discover what was used to craft you. The looters disappeared into the tunnels under the Louvre and the Tuileries. I find it hard to believe that they were able to escape from that maze safely.
I found this box with astronomical symbols on it. I believe it belongs to Vaucanson's daughter.
Athénaïs' secret box. I built it with my own hands. It was my gift to her on her 15th birthday.
I wasn't able to open it.
Naturellement. Athénaïs and I are the only ones who know how. Allow me. You must arrange the planets the way they were aligned on the day of Athénaïs' birth. Voila, like this.
What's this locket?
Athénaïs is always wearing this. It contains a portrait of her late mother. She said it was her most cherished possession in all the world. To think, the poor child never knew her own mother.
You monster! What did you do to her?
What happened? You froze the moment you touched the locket. I thought I'd lost you.
I saw her. Athénaïs de Vaucanson. The Comte de Cagliostro has her.
Mon Dieu. It is just as I feared.
He bound her spirit to an automat.
Please, say no more. Athénaïs. It is her spirit that animates you. Is it not?
Yes. I believe so.
Seigneur, quelle abomination. It is vital that you go and find Athénaïs as soon as possible.
She is right in front of you. I am Athénaïs.
Alas, I fear that is not entirely accurate. You know nothing of Athénaïs, Lydia. Nothing of her past, her joys, her suffering. Nothing of her love for her father. You are but the vessel that harbors the poor child's soul.
Where can I find Athénaïs's body?
God only knows. Although I assume that the Comte de Cagliostro is taking pains to keep her alive. This is certainly the only way to keep her spirit alive in you. The only way to free her is to find her body.
Why was Eugène de Vaucanson imprisoned in the Bastille?
Once he discovered the king's true intentions, he refused to continue cooperating with him. He refused to use his talents to create this abominable army. But the king didn't take kindly to his resignation. Eugène did manage to get a letter to me just before he was arrested. Here, take it.
Monsieur Marat.
Madame?
I'm surprised to find you here. Did you follow me?
Didn't you know? The Duke's allies are always impeccably informed. Some even say that we have eyes and ears everywhere.
What do you want from me?
To tell you the truth, I can't wait to hear what you've discovered about the matter at hand. And I was afraid you might leave me in the lurch. You can never be too cautious these days. That's why I decided it would be better for me to come to you.
You were right. Lafayette was behind this purportedly popular uprising.
Aha! I've got him at last.
But he had no intention of handing his men over to the king. His goal was to raise an army and command the troops himself.
It doesn't matter. These troops would have allowed him to crush the Patriots and set himself up as a dictator. He lied to the people. He lied to the Assemblée Nationale. His time has come. All I need is for you to give me the proof of his treason.
Here. The details about the operation are written in this manifesto.
Madame, I didn't expect so much. The end of Mortier de Lafayette. The executioner has signed his own death warrant. I will now share these revelations with the people's representatives. Long live the Assemblée Nationale.
Marat, ça par exemple. You're certainly a bold one.
Monsieur, I have come to pay my respects.
Mon pauvre ami, you must be out of your mind to come and defy those you so cruelly maligned.
Maligned, you say? This remains to be seen, Monsieur de Mirabeau. I have here a document that its author has amusingly entitled Le Manifeste Henri V. It appears that the name Louis has fallen from fashion these days.
Quiet, scoundrel, or I'll make you swallow your tongue!
Come now, you wouldn't dare, my dear Mortier. Not when we're in such fine and plentiful company. Monsieur, in these pages, you will learn of the vast plot devised by the Marquis de Lafayette and his sinister conspirators. You will discover how our national hero orchestrated the so-called popular uprising that gave rise to the National Guard.
Bon sang. Monsieur le Marquis.
You will also learn that he has proclaimed himself General-in-Chief in the hope of making himself king in turn, and that it is his lust for power to which the patriots who fell in Place Dauphine owe their tragic fate.
C'est incroyable.
You must believe it, cher monsieur, because to add insult to injury, this tomfool was daft enough to sign his missive.
Par tous les saints.
If what Marat says is true, this is treachery of the basest sort.
Well, Monsieur le Marquis, do you deny it?
No, I don't. The loathsome Marat speaks the truth. I wanted to create an army that would be able to rid our kingdom of our anointed executioner, just as we freed America from England's choking grasp. I only kept it secret to avoid causing more chaos. Can you understand?
You defied the people, Lafayette. This is enough to condemn you.
So be it. You won't hear from me anymore. I leave the fate of the nation in the hands of the speechifiers and demagogues. I encourage you to say your prayers, gentlemen, for our end is near. As for you, rat, go back to the cesspit from whence you came. You should never have come out.
I will gladly follow that order, General. Such is my pleasure that it will be your last.
Bon Dieu, boss. It hurts. It hurts.
Steel yourself, Claude. Just be thankful you got out alive.
I'm still in pretty bad shape.
Et puis quoi? Don't you think it was worth it? This tunnel is a gold mine. With what we've managed to gather, we'll be set for a long time.
Monsieur.
Huh? Who goes there?
Oh, so, let's get the hell out of here! Run, Claude! Run if you can!
Oh, my lure! I told you we'd get caught!
Looters from the observatory. Poor souls. They didn't stand a chance. Blueprints. Fortunately, they are in perfect condition. Monsieur Bailly will be delighted. Monsieur B. Here are the blueprints you asked for.
Good heavens. You found them.
Your thieves were not able to profit much from their theft. They met with an unfortunate end.
Oh, the poor souls. Their crimes did not deserve such a permanent ending.
Certainly, certainly. Let us look at these documents now, if you will.
No, Antoine, the F-wheel is not part of the cog that transfers the driving force to the escapement.
Diable, you're right. It's driven by the B-wheel, and its axis is on the shaft that's visible at this point.
Precisely. In fact, the shaft sits between the conical bearing and the small groove here. See?
True. It's decided then. All we would have to do is separate these two plates to disable the entire thing.
And to put them back in place at the agreed time to start the machine again.
You will not be able to assist me. I have to do it alone. Half a league away.
You must be joking.
By no means. You'll have to find another solution.
Unfortunately, madame, you're asking us to do the impossible.
Oh, ça, par exemple.
Once your spirit is untethered from this automat, it will be impossible for you to start the machine up again.
Hold on, my dear Antoine. Is this device, in Figure 4, is it still in place?
Yes, it is. What of it?
Bon sang. It's a timer. It's primitive, true, but fully functional.
The dial has marks from 1 to 15. Probably minutes.
It was to allow Eugène to plan the duration of Ludia's dances in advance.
Oh, I see. And by reversing the position of this peg in the center, we could instead turn it into a period of inactivity.
Nous y sommes, mon ami. Fantastic.
Will Aegis be able to operate this device herself?
We'll make it easier for her. All you have to do is put a bolt there that she can remove when the time is right. Yes, a small iron rod will suffice. We won't have any trouble finding something that will do. When the timer dial reaches 0, the automat will come back to life. However, given the dial's fragility, we will probably get only one chance to try this.
Are you sure that the bond between my soul and this machine will be re-established?
Ma foi, I admit that we can't be sure of this. What do you say, mon père?
Don't be afraid, Aegis. Unless I've been wrong from the beginning, your soul will seek refuge in the only body it has available to it in this world.
Well then, shall we start the preparations?
Let's begin. My fate is in your hands, monsieur.
Voila. Everything is in place. When it's time, just pull on this metal loop to start the timer.
Remember, you will have 15 minutes and no more before your spirit returns to your body. We wish you good luck, madame.
Remember, to get to Rue de Montmorency, you're best going through the cemetery behind the Église Saint-Jacques in the quartier de l'Hôtel de Ville. Here is the key to the gate. Our prayers are with you, my child.
Monsieur.
Zoons! Praise be to the Holy Mother of our Lord, at last thou speakest!
Gentle dame, you have erred here for so long, not a word uttered. In singular contemplation of such terrible slaughter.
A long time, you say? That's not possible, sir. I've just now appeared to you.
Nay, thou must trust me. And thou wast hardly alone in this limbo. There were many travelers, stiff and silent, all in agony. All bound to the anchor stone.
What travelers do you speak of?
The first to arrive was a sobbing child, searching for his mother. After him, many a damned soul carrying their own heads in hand. Then, those whose thoughts passed through me. A minister of God tormented by doubt.
Hold on. A minister of God? Monseigneur de la Fare?
A scholar with soul star-filled, and a learned master of alchemy.
Monsieur Bailly and Monsieur Lavoisier.
A usurer who shed so many tears for his lady.
Monsieur Necker, mourning his wife.
All bound to the anchor stone. Wretched souls, their ascension to the heavens repelled.
The anchor stone, monsieur?
Lapis philosophorum.
The philosopher's stone.
Aye! Vile knave who took it for his own lately. No count is he but that of trespass and perfidy.
Cagliostro.
Well met. But wrote for this varlet and I shall be avenged. The anchor stone keeps the travelers in this limbo and makes them masters of the Iron Titans. From the defunct springs the fire that burns inside these demons. Lanterns of the dead. Witchcraft of the blackest sort.
The terrible slaughter. You say I was just observing the massacres?
Aye. Vile, innumerable crimes. The devil's own accursed titans and their restless horde. They drinketh from the lake where the souls of the dead sleep. Men and women offered in sacrifice to feed the pyre. Then the terrible maw was opened, and in flowed legion of the dead. Ne'er hast I seen such and so many here during all my stay. Oh. The stone is verily mine dark confine. Lonely, so lonely, that mine vessel is no more, and my soul still cloistered in this place. Alack, I do despair of ever ascending to heaven. Gentle dame, I prithee do shatter mine stone.
You want me to break the stone that contains your soul? Is that what you're asking me to do?
Aye, my God, I beg thee.
Do you know where this stone is? You've been buried for more than 3 centuries, monsieur.
The precious jewel, sublime treasure, was inscribed in my legacy, my testament. On my tomb engraved, gentle dame, on the tomb!
What a strange encounter. I must tell Abbe Grégoire about it immediately.
Can I help you, Aegis?
The plan worked as we had hoped. My spirit left my body, and I traveled to the in-between.
This is extraordinary. It confirms all my theories.
You were right about the rest, too. Nicholas Flamel's soul had never left the in-between.
Mon Dieu, 4 centuries. What a fearsome fate. Were you able to speak with this unfortunate soul?
Yes, mon père. He claimed that I had been in purgatory for a long time, but had never spoken until then.
Please, go on.
He said he had met other visitors. Based on his descriptions, he was speaking of Monseigneur de la Fare, Minister Necker, Monsieur Bailly and Monsieur Lavoisier. They all seemed unaware of his presence. All bound to the Anchor Stone. Those were his words.
All those whom Cagliostro turned into his homicidal playthings. Yes, it is just as I thought. The subject has the impression of being the automat it is bound to, but his soul remains in the in-between world.
Mon père, Monsieur Flamel begged me to free him from purgatory. He has suffered for too long.
How can we help him?
If he is to be believed, we would simply have to break his stone.
Of course, the Philosopher's Stone. The Anchor Stone that keeps him in the in-between. But where could it be after all this time?
Look at this, mon père. These are Philosopher's Stones made by Cagliostro's hand. Do they look familiar?
Heavens, they do. Aegis. The ancient chalice of Saint-Jacques is adorned with a similar stone. It was entrusted to me by the parish priests, along with some other relics. I stored it in a reliquary chest in this very room. Here's the key. Go. Let us not waste a second more.
Goodbye, mon père. Here it is.
4 centuries, Aegis. 4 centuries. No mind can begin to comprehend what this poor man has suffered.
Is this the fate that awaits us? An eternity of silence and solitude?
Purgatory is just a stop on the journey, Monseigneur.
Oh, I would give anything to believe it again.
Monsieur Flamel, the time has come to set you free.
Seigneur, Dieu nous garde.
Oh, bless maid who has broken my chains! Heavenly light! Oh, heavenly light! I shall become one with it!
Et cum haec dixis et videntibus illis elevatus est.
And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up.
Hallelujah! Purgatory is not the end. Do you know what that means, Abbot?
Before I say anything, I would like to take the time to consider the phenomenon we have just witnessed with a clear head.
You are mistaken. What we have just seen and heard makes us new apostles. From this day on, I will live only to share the good news of this divine manifestation.
That is all well and good, Monseigneur. Alas, I will not be able to join your apostolate, for there is no mission more vital than the one we are undertaking. At the moment when the tyrant aims to annihilate his subjects, I have a duty to put deeds before prayer.
Monsieur le Marquis.
I'm listening, Aegis.
Goodbye, Monsieur le Marquis.